Hey, I'm Reed, and this is
Michael.
a beautiful beard, by the way. And we're here today to talk about data storage, specifically disk drives. If you're upgrading a storage system, you probably have some questions about what kind of disk drives to buy. We just covered another segment, flash drives, which are also known as SSDs or EFDs.
EFDs, SSDs.
I feel smarter
Yep.
hanging out with you. Now we're going to cover some different types of drives. So if you're using flash drives, you might be using them as a caching pool. You might be using them for some kind of high-speed application like VDI or something like that.
Certainly.
And if you're totally rich, you use them for everything. If you're like the Sultan of Brunei, you probably have lots of flash drives in your data center.
You could do that.
Okay. But if you're not so fortunate, you have to have another type of drive.
Correct.
So these two drives are actually the same size. They're very similar, but they're different types of drives.
Right. So the same form factor. They'll go in the same trays.
Okay.
But actually, we have the traditional SAS drive. So the 600 gig drive.
Okay.
Opposed to the flash drive.
So this is a 200 gig flash drive. This is a 600 gig SAS drive.
Right.
A considerable difference in price and performance.
Okay. So each spindle will offer an IOP speed.
Okay.
With the 600s, approximately 180.
Okay.
And with the flash, theoretically 2500.
Okay. So 180 IOPS.
Right.
2400 IOPS.
24, 25, yeah.
Okay.
Depending.
So we call disk drive spindles. Is it the correct thing to call flash drive spindles, or not anymore since there's really no spindles?
I think we're always going to call them spindles
Because we're just
we just are.
Okay. So basically, there's different size disk drives.
Correct.
Especially when they have spindles and have disk inside of them.
Certainly, yeah.
What is a 600 gig drive good for as opposed to a 450 gig drive? And how do you try to make that decision of saying, I think 450 gig drives are the best drive for this workload versus a 600 gig drive? Because I know, our customers and watchers out there probably have, all types of drives, 146s, 300s, 450s, 600s.
Right.
And then, you're talking about like SATA drives or nearline SAS drives.
Sure.
So how do you make that determination to figure out if you want a smaller drive or a bigger drive?
Well, I think it depends.
Okay, that's a good answer. You engineer, you.
Well, it's going to depend on your workload. It's going to depend on really what are you doing today, right?
Okay.
So, if I've got a 450 gig drive opposed to a 600 gig drive, did I buy that for a specific reason? That depends. I mean, it really does. There's only 150 gig difference, right? The overhead. Many moons ago, it was really all about the number of spindles. So people wanted smaller drives, but a lot of them.
Like a bunch of 146s in
a lot of 146s, yeah. Okay. A lot of 73s, a lot of 146s. But now you see, we're going away from that. You're seeing with the speed of the drives, with the back ends increasing in speed, we have the opportunity to reach that same, that same throughput that we needed early on. So
with fewer drives.
With fewer drives, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just take an application that a lot of people use out there. Let's pick. I'm really torn between Oracle or VMware. I'll pick Oracle for a second. Are you ever going to stick Oracle on a 600 gig drive, or is it really always really optimal for a 300 gig drive? And how would you know? How would you know? Like, no. We can't stick that on 600 gig drive. We got to put that on 300.
No. I mean, there's a lot of determining factors, right?
Sure.
An Oracle instance for a very large bank opposed to a very small company, the requirements are different. So that would be how I would judge that.
So the number of users, the workload, the size of the database, that would kind of play into what size drives you need to use.
The size and the number.
Okay. Because basically, is it true that the size of the disk drive is, if I could kind of paint a picture on mine, the bigger the disk drive, the farther the, I guess is it called the needle? What is it called? Inside
the needle.
The needle. Inside the thing that actually reads the platter. What's it called? The head? I'm technical. Does it have to go further?
I don't know.
Why is it faster?
I think I may call it the needle now. I think you're talking about the head, maybe.
I don't know.
But you're talking about sectors and seek time and all that. And now you're really getting into the weeds. Exactly. So is where the data is placed within the drive or on the drive, the needle has to go back and
So if it's a big drive, does it have to go further? Is that true?
It depends where the bits lie.
Oh man, we're getting too technical. Okay. So is it safe to say that anytime you buy a disk drive, let's say you think you might need to buy some more 300 gig drives or some more
Right.
600 gig drives, you really have to look at your workload to figure out what the right fit is.
Certainly. You would always, if at all possible, you really need to understand your workload profile.
Yeah.
To set up your, your back end.
Okay.
But that's not always possible.
It's not possible to do what? Figure out your workload profile?
Yeah.
Why would it not be possible?
Sometimes the addition of the drives are in such the speed that they need to be added, right, for a capacity constraint.
Okay.
So it may be throwing more disk at the problem. Not really addressing the problem, just throwing more disk at the problem.
Okay. So you're saying there's some situations when you're hoping to add more drives to solve a performance issue, but it could be an issue related to the
Right.
controller or the CPU
Could be.
or the cache
Yeah.
or the SAN fabric or the network or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, let's give us more information about drives. Appreciate that. That was very hilarious.